Join us today. I'm really excited about today's meeting. I think it'll be great. We are today going to just spend a few minutes talking about some administrative related information regarding the block grant. I'm really excited to hear from North Sanpete School District. They will be discussing some trauma-informed practices, specifically TBRI, and some other things that they're doing within their district that are really exciting. We'll have some time for small group discussions and a large group share out. And then I'll be sharing some upcoming training opportunities. So that's what you can expect from today's meeting. So just to start off with some information from USBE, just a reminder, all funds need to be spent by June 30th, 2026. So that's coming up this upcoming June. And remember to submit your receipts at least quarterly so that there's ample time to resolve any issues. Receipts submitted must reflect the spending requests found in your application. So if you are submitting something that's not already in your application, then I will be following up with you to see if it's the correct expense or if we need to do a budget revision. And also just a reminder, food is not an allowable expense with these funds. Something that is really helpful when you're submitting your receipts, and you can pass this along to your BA if this is not you and if you're not working directly in Utah grants, it's helpful on the receipts to list prevention block grant and the specific item that is on your application that you that the receipt was intended for. So for example, some receipts are basically invoices or ledgers, and so if you write in this was for our MTSS training, the subs, that's really helpful so we know exactly what it is that expense was. And if you need to do a budget revision, please talk to us prior to spending the funds. This will avoid us having to say, sorry, that's an unallowable expense after the spending has already been, after the funds have already been spent. So just make sure to talk to us if you're going to do a budget revision before you've actually spent the funds. Oops. All right. And with that, I seem to have skipped a page that I didn't mean to. Just one second. I'm going to stop sharing for a second and we are going to move to a different presentation. And I am really excited to hear from North Sanpete School District today and to have them share the work that they're doing. One second. All right, can you see the screen okay?
Yep, we can see that.
Perfect. All right. So I'm now going to turn the time over to Shalise Shelley and Cami Walker with North Sanpete School District.
Okay, thank you. My name is Shalise Shelley. Sorry, I'm trying to set my timer really quick to make sure we don't go over. I'm the Special Education Director at North Sanpete School District, and about 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we were introduced to trust-based relational intervention, which is a trauma-informed approach to classroom management. And so we've been doing it in our district and found some success with it the last couple of years. We've been using block prevention grant money to further this work in our district. And so we've just been asked today to review it a little bit and give some people an overview. You can ask questions or contact us if you're interested in finding out about it a little bit more or implementing in your district. So go ahead, Clarissa. So the principles that are taught in TBRI are around trauma-informed care. And so the things that we teach are connecting, empowering, and correcting. Those are the strategies that we learn in as teachers and adults to work with the students. So this is all teacher-based. So the practices you can see on the slide are things that we're learning to do in order to work with our students better. So for connecting, we're learning how to respond flexibly and to have a calm presence and to creatively problem solve with students. For empowering, we're making sure that they have choices, they're hydrating, they have sensory, like we're figuring out their sensory issues. And then correcting, we're teaching them about how to be gentle and kind, no hurts. We have some behavior scripts. Anyway, a lot of this is a different response than just punishing and correcting. And so those are the principles that TBRI is taught and that our teachers are supposed to be embedding into their practice and learning for themselves. So go ahead. Cami. Oh, muted.
As part of this, we wanted to collect some data to see for conversations and to drive how we wanted to roll it out. So we used the SIRSI, which is the Student Risk Screening Scale. It's a survey that's very quick that teachers fill out on each of their students. So we had to get permissions, of course, for this. And what they're doing is they're evaluating their students for internalizing and externalizing behaviors. So there's questions that they rate 0 to 3 of their levels of things like anxiety and depression, sadness for internalizing. For externalizing, it's more the outward behaviors that they're rating. From that data, we had 356 students screened this past year. We did all of our 4th grade in our district and then a few other grades as well. And 22 teachers participated. This year we're upping it a little bit more. We're actually doing 2 full schools, but we'll get to that in a minute. The results of the data is, so we did it in October and then we do it again later spring and to see what kind of differences there are that they're seeing. So these are the teachers that participated in this SIRSI weren't necessarily all participating in the TBRI. So that's what we wanted to see was, is there a difference in the classrooms that are participating with the TBRI training versus those that aren't? And the results are here on the right-hand side. We had the average for all elementary, whether they participated in TBRI training or not, we saw that 9% is reflective of the externalizing behaviors. And that's an increase across the board. There was an increase of 9%. And then that 15% there is the internalizer. So an increase of behaviors. So we learned right off the bat that there's just kind of this upward trajectory with our behaviors. So then we wanted to tease it out a little bit. And what about those that participated in TBRI training versus those that didn't? And you can see the ones that are highlighted in purple. If there's a negative by it, that means there's a reduction in behaviors. So therefore, that first school, the FVE, this was a TBRI class. These were TBRI classrooms, and they reported a 55% reduction in externalizing and a 53% reduction in internalizing. And I won't take the time to go through each one of those, but you can see the one that isn't highlighted, they weren't TBRI classrooms. So we did see quite a bit of difference for the classrooms of the teachers that participated in the TBRI training. Our TBRI training we'll get to that at the end as well to tell you more how we do that. But we also gather some qualitative data. We wanted to know teacher perception. How do they feel that they're doing? Of those that were rated, 90% of the participants. So this is not just teachers, but it's also paras, their secretaries, there were our transportation department, our admin. It was just really, we put it out there to anybody who wants to come. Is invited. It's paid training as well. So that was helpful in getting a nice participation. We felt like we had a really nice pool of participants. And 90% of them reported that the training impacted their ability to engage with students at a high degree, which is a pretty big deal. You can go to the next one, Clarissa. This one speaks to more of the qualitative. It kind of breaks it down. I won't go through all but on the left-hand side, you can read through those quotes. These were quotes from individual teachers of their experiences or participants of their experience, how they felt it impacted them. But basically, out of all the participants, there were three common themes that of their responses. They felt that with this TBRI training, it gave them greater connection, which is a big deal because so many times we know that, you've got to connect, you've got to connect, you've got to connect, but do we really know how? What are the things that make us a connecting person, or how do we do that? And TBRI teaches that. Also improved behavior management. So they left feeling like they've got some skills that are helping them for their whole classroom, but also the kiddos that just need more one-on-one. And then this third one, that third bullet, the personal effects, I highlighted that less stress at work because we know that there's just a high amount of stress with these behavior problems that aren't going away, right? And so for us to find a program that teachers are reporting, I have less stress at work to go to work now, was a pretty big deal for us. Can you go to the next slide? This one is just highlighting the effect size. So if you're familiar with the John Hattie effect size formula, what we found was that the classrooms that participated in what we're calling a TBRI collaborative approach, which is basically they attend our training, but then there's like a team of them. So for example, we have in one school, all of the 6th grade teachers took it seriously and attended all of the training, and they would collaborate with each other and talk, then you hear the TBRI language, and they would reach out to us for additional help and supports. So those that did not only our training, but did kind of the extra things as well. We have a book that we bring out, and we had extra guest speakers. But we found that those classrooms reported, based on their data, suggested 0.95 effect size, which if you go over to that on the Jacob Cohen's effect size, 0.8 is considered high. So we're at a pretty high level there. I think that was everything for the most part. We also did a family camp that was TBRI, and what that is we hope to do it again this upcoming year, but it's a time when families, some invited families come, and each child gets a buddy that is all TBRI trained, and the parents go one direction, and the kiddos go another with their buddy. And then they are immersed in total TBRI. The parents are trained in the TBRI for 3 days, and the kiddos experience TBRI. And what that looks like is it's dysregulating and then regulating, dysregulating and regulating. And there's a lot of evidence out of the Texas Christian University that has brought this TBRI brought this out, but there's a lot of evidence from them that shows how the cortisol levels are significantly lower as they go through this 3-day training. And we had parents that reported months after that the changes that they saw immediately in these kiddos, in other words, their ability to regulate better, was long-term. So 3 months later, we were getting reports from parents that they're still seeing the effects since the camp. So we felt like that was a pretty big win as well. And then I think we can move on to the last slide. I think Shalise was going to cover that.
So one of the things we wanted to share was how we rolled this out. So phase 1 was 2 years ago. We're in our 3rd year now. So our first year, we sent 3 people from our district to a training so that they could become practitioners, and then they train in our district. They're not allowed to train outside of our district, but they're able to do all the training in our district. And then we just offered the training. We used our prevention block money, and we spent most of our money on training, and we just offered that to anybody that wanted to come. We set up days that they could come. We had monthly training sessions, just kind of set it up to where anybody was welcome to come. And then we did the 3-day family camp with our participants, and you can see some of those people there in our cohort that year. So phase 2, the next year, we did the same thing, but this time we added more of the mental health survey and tried to connect TBRI training to classrooms so that we could see the data that was being collected by classrooms that did TBRI and classrooms that didn't. One of the interesting things that we found out there was that the teachers that had had training year one but didn't have training year two were still better than the teachers that hadn't had it. Their classrooms were still a little bit better managed as far as connection and less stress, but it wasn't as high as the year that they were in the training. And so we're really advocating for our teachers to take the training every year and to continue to be immersed in our training and to review and to work at this, because it's life-changing ways that we approach kids, not just a program. So if you're used to yelling and you have to step back from that and have a calm composure, sometimes you jump back to those old habits. And without continued training and continued support and continually talking about this, we fall back into bad habits. And so that's what we learned from some of our data too, was that we have to offer this year in and year out and year in and year out and keep our people continually training in it and getting better at it all the time. This year, we are in phase 3, and what we're excited about this year is we are piloting for a company called Raise the Future. They're the ones that are helping us bring TBRI to Utah and to our schools. And they have created specific materials for classroom teachers on how to structure lessons and lesson plans. So not just the connecting piece or just the correcting piece that you would use individually with a kid, but their whole lesson plans are being developed around ways to be proactive with the kids, bring sensory to the kids, those kinds of things. So that it's more of a preventative model now if you're designing lesson plans around the needs of your kids a little better. And so this year, as we're training, that's what we're working on, is how does this look as a classroom teacher when I'm lesson planning? And so we've just started that this year. Again, we're doing trainings 2 or 3 different places. It's open to everybody that wants to come. We're using our prevention block grant money to provide money for that training. But this year, in connection with Raise the Future, we're piloting for them lesson plans, and we're going to see how that works. So in a nutshell, that's what we've been doing with our prevention block money the last 3 years. And we feel like we are seeing some slow but steady progress and some things to really celebrate about finding this new model and using it with our kids. The connections have been great. We've got some great success stories with individual kids, and hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have some good success stories with full classrooms of kids. So that's what we're doing. Any questions? I don't know how to tell if the hands go up. I think that's it.
Thank you, Shalise. That was so great. I want to give people just a little more time to ask questions if you have any questions. So just if you want to come off mute, you're welcome to do so. Okay. Well, thank you. That was a great explanation of the work that you're doing and really exciting results that you've seen so far. So really appreciate you sharing that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a second here and pull up my slide deck. And then what we'll do is we want to go into some breakout sessions today. We'll probably only have a couple of breakout sessions, maybe 2 or 3, so that you have the opportunity to to discuss what it is that you just learned and how you could potentially see any of those strategies fitting into your current prevention plan or potentially future iterations of your plan, as well as just an opportunity to discuss and share how your plans are going right now. So I'm gonna share my screen again, and then I'll create some breakout rooms. Okay, so those are your questions. Tanya in the chat has put in a document that has the questions so that you can be guided in your discussion. If you'd like, you're welcome to take notes. You don't have to. And I am going to go ahead and put you in your breakout rooms. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope you had some good discussions. Let's go ahead and just give you the opportunity now to share out 1 or 2 highlights from your group conversations. So can we have someone from, let's start with group 3. Can someone from group 3 share out a couple of highlights?
I can share what we were talking about. First of all, we all loved the presentation, just thought some very good things that, you know, could potentially be implemented. But we also talked about just the different programs that were implemented. Karen was talking about Stand for Kind and Sources for Strength that they're using in their district. And then Jim gave me a great resource. I had never heard of the Cook Center, something I'm hoping to potentially look into more and potentially bring to our school. And then we are implementing Character Strong with our prevention block grant funds. So we just talked a lot about those programs and how they're kind of going for us. And they all seem like very great programs that are just helping where they need to right now at our schools.
Great, thanks, Amanda. Let's have somebody from,
Krista, can I just add something really fast?
Yeah.
It's really interesting that you were talking about Stand for Kind. They have indicated to us that they're very interested in folding in some information about our protective factor framework into their services and training. So we're super excited about that, and hopefully we'll be partnering with them. So stay tuned for more information about that.
Great, thanks, Tanya. Can somebody from group 2 share out for us?
Sure, I'll go ahead. We got a little bit more information from Shalise about the TBRI initiatives that they've taken in their district, and she shared some just amazing case studies of how it has impacted their teachers and schools and students individually, and just what an amazing impact it's had for everyone who's participated in it. So that was really inspiring to hear more about that. And I appreciated the insights that she shared with that as well.
That's great, thank you. Was there a standout story that maybe the rest of us might want to hear about?
Well, I don't want to spoil the story. I think I'll have to have Shalise share that one. But the one that really resonated with me was a teacher who was really set in their ways. And after the TBRA training, just totally made a 180 and totally changed the way that he taught and the impact that they had on their students, and has really become a champion for the TBRI process as a whole.
Wow, that's great. Thank you. And group 1, what are some highlights from your conversation?
We just mostly spent time talking to each other about what we were doing, and it was a great conversation.
We were a little overwhelmed by how many people were in the group, but once we got past that,
Yeah.
yeah,
all
Tanya.
2 of us.
No, the TBRI looks really great though, and I think we were both interested in learning more.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm glad you had that opportunity to have a real in-depth conversation with just the 2 of you.
Do we want to mention here Clarissa Bryce?
Oh, Bryce Canyon. Yeah. So you all will get a sneak peek as to what is coming. We have a really exciting opportunity in June. So some of you may have attended the last couple of years, we have partnered with the Utah Prevention Coalition Association to do a pre-conference at their summit that they do every year in June at Bryce Canyon. And in the past, we have done training with the Montana Institute on the science of the positive, communicating positive social norms, as well as positive childhood experiences and all of the great research that is coming out on positive childhood experiences. And so this year, we're going to continue that theme of positive childhood experiences, but we're actually going to be working with Amy from Raise the Future, who I believe works with Shalice in North San Pete School District. And she will be focused on, she'll do a whole workshop on connection strategies, which is a huge part of promoting positive childhood experiences and being trauma informed. And so it's going to be really exciting. She's a very engaging presenter, and she's got some really good things that she'll roll out. So that's something you can look forward to. We'll be announcing that later on, but just a little sneak peek of what is to come related to connection strategies similar to the TBRI and what they're doing in North San Pete.
Yeah, I was
That'll
going to
be-
say you'll get a little bit of a flavor of TBRI in that workshop, but go ahead, Paul.
That'll be the Tuesday session.
Correct.
Yep, Tuesday session. Yep. Yes. So, any other comments or questions? Okay. Oh, one thing I did want to mention, so I'll just share with you. I have received a few questions from some of our awardees about next year's block grant and when we anticipate the release of that grant application. We do anticipate releasing it shortly after the October board meeting in 2026. So we'll release it in October, and then you'll have a month to submit the application. So that's just a little bit of what you can expect as far as the next grant cycle. We will be providing some resources in advance, and we will also be providing some training and some opportunities to work on your comprehensive prevention plan. Tanya, it looks like you are about to say something.
I just want to let everybody know why. I want you to know that we've heard your feedback loud and clear about trying to release the grant earlier. However, the problem is we don't know our funding amounts until after that board meeting in October. So unfortunately, it's not going to be possible for us to move the timeline up at all as much as we want to. But after that, our plan is hopefully we'll have everything ready to go and we can release it. And the board meeting happens the first Thursday of the month of October, and then we'll release it right away.
Yeah, thank you. And the issue is we're using funds from previous years for this grant. That's what's outlined in statute. So it's leftover funds from a different funding source, and that gets to move towards this. And so that's why we have to wait as long as we do. But we'll try to get you the heads up as far as so you can be prepared in advance to fill out that application. So on that note, I do want to share some prevention professional learning opportunities that we have coming up. Some of these you've probably already seen in our newsletter. We have our webinar series on the third Thursday of each month. And so we've canceled the October webinar, but we'll resume in November with accountability practices, and we'll get to hear from a youth court panel, which I was able to observe this youth court a couple of weeks ago, and it's fantastic. So you'll get an opportunity to hear from those participating in that. Whoops, I'm clicking too quickly. We have a prevention workshop specifically for charter schools. So this was the April workshop that we held this past year. We'd heard feedback from charter school participants, though, that they wanted to be able to bring in their entire team to participate in this workshop. So this is an opportunity that we're offering on November 18th. Granite School District has been gracious enough to allow us to host it there. And so that's coming up for any of our charter schools that are on this call. And then I mentioned this a second ago, we have a workshop scheduled for March. So this will be a comprehensive prevention plan workshop, which will be going around the state again. It's an all-day workshop. And the registration link is in the chat. Thank you, Tanya, for putting that in there. We have lots of links for you that are in the chat. So hopefully you'll be able to join us then. This will be a great opportunity to prepare for the prevention block grant application, because we'll be doing some in-depth training on creating a comprehensive prevention plan as well as enhancing what you already have. And then you'll be given some time to actually develop that or update your plan right there within that workshop, and we'll guide you through that process. We also have some protective factor framework workshops that are scheduled. They are filling up really fast, but I've got those posted here as well. Registration again is in the chat. And then if there are any training needs that your district or charter school has, we can provide tailored trainings to meet your needs. So if you would like to request a tailored training or something specific, go to our Student Services Training Request portal, and we will we'll get that information, and then we'll connect with you to get that scheduled. And that is, we've reached the end. I think we'll be able to end a few minutes early, but thank you so much for joining us today. We are a little bit smaller in numbers today, but I do appreciate those of you who are able to make it. And we will meet again for our next collaborative meeting in December. So we hope to see you then. Thank you.